To the Coaches Chat presented by The League. And tonight I'm joined by BBNN head football coach Mike Willey, who also runs The League, the Elite Football League. Mike, always great to see you, my friend. How you doing this evening?
Doing great, John. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me on, talk some ball.
Yeah, and I'm excited to have you on. And of course, we're kicking off the offseason with our first episode of the Coaches Chat. Coaches Chat, again, presented by The League, will be on throughout the offseason. We'll have some of the best high school coaches in New England joining me on a weekly basis. And we're going to kick things off tonight talking with Mike Willey, of course, from BBNN. And Coach, another great season this year for the Knights at BBNN. Before we get into the league, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight because we are partnering up again. I'm excited about that. Great opportunity to work with you. Let's talk about the season you had real quick at BBNN. Another great season for the Knights. You guys made another bowl game, the John Pappas Bowl game, obviously named after John Pappas, your coach at BBNN. Terrific season for you guys.
Thanks, John. Yeah, it was a good season. The seniors played great. They led us the whole way. We had a great group, 14 guys, which is a huge class for us. That's a big, big class for us. And they did a great job. And ended up with another bowl bid, came up a little short in the bowl game, but that is what it is. That was our 8th bowl game in the last 9 years. So pretty proud of that. And our guys kind of continued on a really good tradition of, playing pretty good football. So, we were excited about the season and, we just got to get a little bit better. And, but overall it was another one of those special seasons. So good stuff.
Yeah. And of course, as I mentioned, we are partnering up again. Of course, you are running the league now. And, we worked together for a couple of years back. And I know that you and I had been talking this off season, and I think that this is something that we're both passionate about with the changing climate now, with college football, transfer portal, NIL. High school kids are getting squeezed. And the more opportunities you have to play football and put good film together in conjunction with your high school film, the better of an opportunity you're going to get recruited by these college coaches. Now, of course, the portal window closes tomorrow. We're going to get into that because I do think a lot of parents and young men out there need the help. They need the support when it comes to navigating through this climate now when it comes to getting recruited for college football. But you and I have been in football a long time. There's no substitute for playing. There's no substitute for putting tape out there. Talk about the league. Why is the league important? What is the significance of it? And how can it help a young man out there who's looking to enhance their game, get better, and put more on tape?
Yeah, it's a great question, John. I mean, it's changed more in the last 3 years than it has in the past 15 years in terms of the college recruiting and college landscape and everything. So, so what we did, we formed a tackle football league for the spring. Think of it as kind of club football, AAU football, that kind of idea. Where guys get a chance to play 11-on-11 tackle football in the spring, just like they do in all the other, states, Georgia and Florida and Texas and everywhere else. They're playing spring ball. That's not something that we have up here in the Northeast. So, we developed this league, and this would be our sixth year doing it. And we're really excited. The key to it is, we try to make everything about the league a first-class operation. You know what I mean? This is not, hire a couple of dads and go down to the field and hack around. This is really well run. Like I said, we've done it. This will be our 6th year, so we fine tune it every year, get better every year. Really try to do it all first class. From the uniforms look sharp, the gear, all that stuff. The referees are, we have a great assigner that assigns for college leagues, and he uses it as a little bit of a tryout ground for some of his guys, which is awesome. So we get great officiating. We get great fields. We're practicing and playing on great fields. Every practice has a trainer, every game has a doctor. I mean, it's all first class, operation. with our league season and practices. So that's like number one. Like we're not going to do this halfway. We're gonna make sure that this is a really really good opportunity for the kids.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I think opportunity is the key word here. Because again, we're at a disadvantage up here, and we've talked about it. I've talked about it with you. I talked about it with John Pappas, where the disadvantage kids have up here is you don't have spring football. You don't get the 10 to 15 practices that they get in other parts of the country, where coaches can work with their kids and focus on individual techniques and skill development and prepare them for the season. We don't have that advantage. But the one advantage you do have here, if you participate in the league, is you actually get to play games. Now, in states like Florida, they're going to pad up. They're going to have padded spring practices, but they're not going to play other schools. They might play them in 7-on-7 or flag leagues, but they're not going to play them during the regular season. Here, or I'm sorry, during the spring. Here, you have an opportunity, though, to actually compete against other teams, other players, and again, put good tape out there, which in this day and age, with the landscape in college football, is paramount.
Yeah, absolutely, John. It's funny, one of our league coaches is a guy named Mike Kelleher, right? He was a defensive coordinator at Brown for about 20 years, right? He's, he and his kind of his retirement job is he coaches down at St. Thomas Aquinas down in Florida, right? One of the best schools in the country, powerhouse, right? Like, play on TV, national schedule, like, they're really, really good, very successful, just won another state title this past year. He flies up to coach the league. Okay. And so we really have picked his brain over the last 6 years. And, how do you guys do it down at Aquinas, and what are the benefits and all those sort of things. And I mean, those guys, they have top level talent. They have really good players. I mean, they're cranking it up and getting after it, for their 20 practices or whatever they have. And they have like a spring game type situation at the end. His comment is, in the league up here, why he flies up and does it every year is, he's like, you have the advantage of, you're going to do practices and you're going to get better and you're going to do skills, but then you're going to have, we do 4 game opportunities and a kind of controlled scrimmage that we're going to film, and it's going to be game situations, referees, everything. It's full tilt, and you get to put that tape together for college coaches. Now that's absolutely paramount for like those rising seniors, rising juniors, upperclassmen. But he says the real secret of the league is the underclassmen get better, get reps. Maybe they haven't played in a varsity type situation yet. They're a sophomore going in their junior year, or they're a freshman going. Those guys get the leg up for the next year, when they're ready to go for the varsity. So it's like sometimes I fall into this trap, and it's like, oh, it's just juniors and seniors, like these guys, the older guys, the best guys. Oh, the freshmen and sophomores, those guys might get even more out of it, So it's definitely just about trying to give kids in New England, we've had kids from New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, everyone, all the states, we've had represented, just giving those guys opportunities, and we're excited about it.
Scott, who is a regular viewer of our show. Scott, great to hear from you, man. Appreciate it. He says St. Thomas in Fort Lauderdale. Yes, St. Thomas Aquinas in Fort Lauderdale program. And Scott, thanks for checking in, man. Appreciate it as always. Hope you're well. I think that's the benefit of the league. That's the benefit of why you do this. And I know a lot of people, I'm going to be honest with you, Mike, and you and I have known each other for a long time. And, obviously, what we're all about, and I know what you're all about in terms of, you talked about running this as a first-class operation.
Yep.
But I want coaches out there to understand that now more than ever, we need our kids playing football, but now more than ever, we need to put them in a position where they can get recruited, because it's not going to be easy for them. It's just not. College coaches, especially now with NIL and the money that's being thrown around, okay, it's just easier to go into the portal and shop for what you need and build your roster that way. Sure, they're going to recruit high school kids. There's still going to be an organic element to college football. But the reality is the majority of the roster building that's going to happen nowadays, unfortunately, is going to happen through the portal. And so if you're a high school kid that is fortunate enough to be recruited early on and that's got multiple offers, you want to take advantage of whatever opportunities come your way. The league is that opportunity. Now, conversely, there's the other kid that may not be in that boat. You mentioned the younger guys getting a lot out of playing for the league.
Yep.
But the reason I'm bringing up what I'm bringing up is I want you to tell coaches out there, specifically public school coaches,
Yep.
because let's be honest, Mike, you and I keep it real with each other. We always have. That's the elephant in the room because public school coaches are afraid, okay, if my kid goes and plays in this thing, am I going to lose him to one of those schools in the knapsack?
Yep.
What would you say to that?
It's a great question, John. It's a great question. Yeah. Number one, like I'm pretty plugged in, I think to the college recruiting world. Right. And, I'm meeting with college coaches all the time and they're saying scary numbers, John, scary numbers about like, this is how many, high school kids we're going to take next year. You're talking about cutting things in half in cases, down a third. I mean, just the sheer numbers alone, it is getting out. It's really hard out there. You know what I mean? Like that is for sure, right? So that's something that is a reality that we're living in. Right? I live it with my BB&N guys. I live it with those guys. Like how do we create the right opportunities for our guys? Right? Like. So every game is filmed at the league, like it's a first class put on Huddle. You have access to it, all that. I think the second part of your question, I kind of, again, I'm in a private school and I went to a public school, right? Like, and I understand that. And I have plenty of public school coaches that are friends, and this is what I'd say. There's a lot of really good coaching and really good programs out there, right? And the answer, I think, it's always kind of like a backwards thinking to me. Like I want to, the answer to how do I keep my guy happy at my program is never less exposure, right? Like the answer is never less, right? So in my opinion, it's like, get them out there, get them in front of everyone. So then they know that, they have all the same opportunities. A good example, like when we started thinking about this league, I said to Coach Pap, because, obviously Coach Pap founded it. And I said to him, I go, listen, if this goes right, like public schools are going to have the bigger advantage, right? Because now, instead of like going to a private school and having to change your situation for whatever reason that you think that is, now you can go tackle Bo McCormick a couple times in the league, and now you've got the tape you need, and college coaches can say, yeah, look at that guy's tackling the maybe more arguably the best running back in Massachusetts state history, right? Like, and now you've got that film. So that thinking of like I'm going to hide someone or like not give them exposure. I just feel like that's a little bit backwards thinking. I would go the opposite way and jump right in and kind of go the other way and say, oh, I'm going to get all my guys out there. There's plenty of guys that do that. Right. And those are guys that are not losing players to private school programs. So the other big one, John, I want to kind of address is like guys will say, I don't want to get banged up. I don't want to get hurt.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, I trust me. People talk to me like Bo McCormick's a good example. He played going into his senior year. Oh my goodness, what happens if he would get hurt? And I talked to him. I said, hey, what do you think? Do you want to play or not? He goes, well, I got to get better. Like I got to get better at football. I was like, oh, like you're one of the best players to ever play high school football in Massachusetts, and your attitude is I want to get better, right? And I'm like, yeah, man. Like I was like, yeah, that's exactly the attitude, right? Those kids down at St. Thomas Aquinas are playing, not the kids that don't have offers. Like they're playing for real. Like Coach Keller is like, no, they're getting after it. They're playing hard. Like the guys that have Miami and all these things and that, dudes they're playing, right? Because in order to get better at tackle football, you got to play tackle football. Now, I will say this. We're not knuckleheads we're not in the Stone Age, and we're not lining up and doing Oklahoma drills. You're getting coached by Coach Foley, who is the, offensive coordinator at UConn, head coach at Colgate, offensive line coach at UMass. He's not a knucklehead. He's teaching you how to play offensive line. Don't have to run into each other to do that. You can do it from 6 inches apart, really work footwork, hand placement, whatever it is. Like, it's not like we're just going to run into each other and be dumb about this, right? Like, it is, a college program philosophy in terms of practice, and the practices, are designed so you can play another sport, right? You can still play baseball. You can still play lacrosse. You can still do all your other sports and participate in the league, right? It really boils down to Saturday nights for practice and then the Sunday games. Throughout April, we do practice, right? Start off just doing practice, 2 practices a week, get us going, get it figured out, go from helmets, the acclimation process, helmets to helmets and shoulder pads, a couple days with that, pad work, that kind of thing, and get you ready to go. And then we go down to the practice and then the game. And so, like, along with that, you have the trainers there, you have the doctor, if anything went right. So there's all sorts of, kind of assurances. I feel very comfortable letting my own guys play.
Well, I think that's the thing that people don't realize, specifically with the injury piece, is that your guys are playing in this league. It's not like you're just telling people, "Hey, send me your guys, and we're going to play your guys, but my guys aren't going to play in it."
Yeah.
I mean, your guys are playing in it, and your guys have benefited from it greatly. And I can't stress this enough. I want to go back to the younger player piece because I think it's so important. They, more than anyone, I think, would benefit from this. Not that the upperclassmen won't, because they will. You mentioned Bo. Bo's a good example of a guy who benefited from the league. But, I mean, imagine now if you have a really good freshman and he's coming up for varsity. He's coming up to play varsity, I should say, as a sophomore. And you're looking at him and saying, hey, you know what? This kid's going to have to play for us, but he's really raw. He didn't play a lot. He could potentially play for us. And by the way, another reason why the league is important, we're going away from freshman football and JV football. Yeah. It's Rushmore now. You've got a lot of juniors out there that are getting screwed in that setup. Let's be honest here. They're not getting to play JV anymore and getting those reps. The league could be an opportunity for them to play spring football, get some reps, get some fundamental work, and get better because, again, because of this Froshmore setup we're seeing across the state now, those guys are losing reps during the season.
No doubt, John. It's funny, like we have kind of story after story after story of guys that just didn't quite get enough reps. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm ready to go next year, right? So like we had a linebacker, and he got forced to play a different position the year before, right? And this is a guy that tried out for the league and made the league, and talked to all the guys and get their stories and stuff. It's like, okay, so he got kind of jammed into a different position for his team, so he couldn't play linebacker because he had to play this other position. And then he tries out for the league, makes it the league, linebacker. He gets to play linebacker for the kind of the first time at a high level. And then his junior year, he's the starting linebacker, and goes on to have a good junior year, good senior year, played in the league again, and then he's got a great spot in college. It's like, wow, those are the stories that I love to kind of like, that's why we do this, right? It's like, okay, man, that freshman that you think is pretty promising, get him in the league, get him going so he can play. Guess who does this, John? Every major college with early graduation, right? Yeah. Like that's what they do. Get him. He's not ready yet. Get him into spring ball before his freshman year. It's the same idea with those freshmen and sophomores, right? It's like, get those guys ready, let them bang around and kind of figure it out, get skill work, get fundamentals. So when they come to you, you're ready to go.
Scott checks back in. He says, is AI going to take over recruiting? Well, I think it's a tool that's being used to help guys get recruited, and certainly colleges are using it as a tool in the recruiting process. I think it's going to be something that's going to be an integral part of the recruiting process moving forward. Is it going to take over recruiting? No, because I still think the human element matters. Human beings are still playing the game. But I definitely think, like every other arena in life, I think that AI plays an integral part in the recruiting process in terms of presentation and helping young men out there market themselves, and then colleges using it to market their programs.
Yep. Yep. I would agree. I would agree with you, John.
Scott checks back in. He says, "Forgive me. What is the league?" So, Mike, here's your opportunity to educate Scott once again on what the
Yep.
league is. And
Yeah.
Scott,
So
again, thank you for checking in.
yeah, Scott, it's a spring tackle football league that and basically how it works, and John, I can kind of talk about the logistics. Basically, how it works is we have a series of tryouts in March where we have 3 different tryouts where kids will come. It's not helmet, it's no helmets, it's just workout gear. We'll put them through a bunch of movement drills, do some position specific drills, all non-contact stuff, and they'll try out. We'll gather all the data, and kind of figure out, these are the guys, these are the positions, these are this, and then we'll build teams. We'll have a draft, build teams. They're kind of regional, right? So like if you're kind of a North Shore guy, want to keep you on the North Shore. If you're down in Connecticut, we're going to keep you in the Southwest, right? If you're a Maine or New Hampshire guy, we're going to put you up the North team, right? Boston guys are going to be in the Boston area, right? So we make the teams. And then in April, we have practice. So you're on your team, you're off and running, you're with your team, you're going to practice, right? 2 days a week, usually Saturday early evening, Sunday afternoons. So you're practicing throughout April. We culminate April with a jamboree, which is kind of like a pro practice. John, you've seen it a million times. You've been over there. We're going to do some inside run against each other. We're going to do some, 7-on-7. We're going to do some 11-on-11 situational stuff, kind of get ready for it. And then in May, we play our games, right? We're going to play our 4 games and have a practice along with that. So you practice still on Saturday night, and then you play your games on Sunday. So it's open to everyone. And what we do now, and how do you get kind of involved, is right now we're building lists of VIP guys that we want to try out. So what we do is we have a link on our website, and John, we'll get it all out on Twitter and stuff for everyone. Yep. So there's a link on our website that just says, hey, click here to give us your information, right? You give us your information, you put in your highlight tape, or if you have any tape, you don't have to, like, you put some measurables in, where you're from, all that sort of thing. And we'll have the coaches really kind of look at it and say, yeah, this guy, got to have him in the league, got to have this guy in the league, right? So we'll kind of evaluate that, and then we'll send out VIP invites. So you get a bunch of these going out a week from Sunday is when we'll launch those. Okay. And then more guys will say, oh, I gotta get evaluated. They'll put their stuff in. We'll evaluate them on the fly as they're coming in. We'll send out more invites, and then we'll have 3 invites, 2 VIP kind of invites, and then an open invite. Anyone, come on, let's go. Show us that you want to play. That tryout's like my favorite, because these are guys that really love football, want to play football, and get after it. So that's basically the nuts and bolts of how the season runs.
You are watching the Coaches Chat presented by the league, and I'm joined tonight by Mike Willey, head football coach at BBNN. Mike also runs the league, and tonight we're talking about the league, and of course the league season is around the corner. As Mike said, they're going to be holding tryouts in March, and the season will commence in April. One of the things that you and I have talked about since we reconnected was the importance of the league in this college football landscape. Why is the league so important now for young men that are looking to get recruited? Because again, as I mentioned earlier, with the portal now, they're up against it. Why is it so important for them to really think long and hard about playing in this league if they want to help themselves get recruited? And how do you help them get recruited?
Good question. So, college football coaches, want to see what you can do in 11-on-11 situations, right? Like, and again, all my guys play 7-on-7. That's great. They do that. It's fun, all that sort of thing, and there's definitely a place and time for that, no doubt. But if you look at, like we said, those other states that are the most highly recruited states, those guys are all playing spring football.
Yep.
So how do we do this, right? So we built the league, and then you get tape, right? Like you're going to get, all of these guys come back to me and say, "Oh my goodness, coach, like this was great. I got this tape against some real, good competition, really professionally done tape." Like again, like you see a lot of tape, John, out there that's like too far away and it's like from the side. Like we're going to give you great angles of film that you can use for your highlight tape, right? Because that's really the key. And a big part of this is, if you're a sophomore going into your junior year, or you're a junior going into your senior year, which is when the recruiting really heats up, like there's a lot that can change from your sophomore. You step off the field your sophomore year, you do all the weight room stuff in the winter, and then like most guys have to wait all the way to the fall, right? We had a great example was a guy, a DB for us at BB&N. He was kind of in the mix with some Ivy League schools, and he really liked it. Kid's name is Isaiah Kazaminski. He did a great job for us as a sophomore, and so I'm sorry, as a junior, and then
his name might sound familiar to NFL fans.
Absolutely, yes.
His dad played in the NFL.
Pretty good. Dad was a great player in the NFL.
Seattle Seahawks.
Yep. Yeah, he's good. Captain of the special team captain, Super Bowl. And so anyways, he's like on the cusp, right? And they're like, we really just gotta want to see senior tape, And I'm like, well, he's gonna play in the league. He's gonna have some tape from the spring. They're like, oh, really? Like, this was early on in the league. They're like, oh, really? This would be great. Like, we really want to see this, and this, and this. Okay, great. So he goes through the league, plays the 4 games, gets the tape, sends it off, bang, Harvard. Is like, oh, this is awesome. Like this is great. This is exactly what we're looking for. It's that, because you don't have to wait that 9 months. You just got to, a lot can happen in 6 months, right? And you can get a lot better, bigger, stronger, faster. Guys start shaving every day. Like you just kind of fill out. And now, oh my goodness, look at this guy. He looks great. He's moving, and he's 20 pounds heavier, or looks faster, whatever it is. So yeah, that's a big part of getting recruited, because like we said at the beginning, John, it is ugly out there right now, and if you're not, differentiating yourself, you're up against it.
Scott says, by the way, I think Drake may be AI with some of those throws. Yeah, he might be. You'll have to be AI on Sunday against the Texans. Thanks again, Scott. Appreciate you checking in as always. Mick joins the show. Mick Salmon, he says, hey guys, what does it cost to play in the league? So Mike,
great question.
This opportunity to break down
that part of it. Great question. Yeah. So we want to keep the costs as low as possible, right? Like this is not, like again, I have sons that are younger, and they play like club baseball, and I have my sister has kids that play, club soccer and all these things. Like those are like the prices of those. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like I have a second mortgage to help my kid, play baseball. So and so what we do is we break it down. There's a tryout fee, which is $150. Okay, that gets you everything, the troll tryout, and then the league fee. You don't, once you try out, that's part of the fee, right? You're good, and then it's $9.95 for the whole season. So that gets you all the games, the game film, the uniform, all the stuff, the trainers, the facilities, everything, right? Like, so you get all of that, for under $1,000 for the 2 months, So if you break it down hourly, like sometimes I look at it like, break this thing down hourly, and it's like, oh man, this is like really good. You couldn't get a babysitter to do this, So it's.
Well, I think to your point, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And Mick, thank you for checking in. We appreciate the question. I think to your point, you got to remember too. I mean, you're talking about equipment, you're talking about uniform, you're talking about paying for the facilities.
Yeah.
All of that. That's what that goes towards. So it's not like this is, and oftentimes, and again, I think it's important to have these candid conversations, because I believe in what this league stands for. I believe in you as the person who runs it. I've known you. I know your reputation, and I know that it's going to be done right if you're involved in it. This is not one of those cash cow operations here where you're using this as a way to make money. You want to help people here. You want to help these kids. You want to help them get that opportunity to get more reps, more snaps, and more exposure and more tape.
Yeah, absolutely, John. Like we when we formed it, it's like, we're going through all this and we're trying to, like, how can we, make it as cost effective as possible, right? Like just really beating everything down as best we can. But we were not going to skimp on anything that was really important, right? Like you need to get great coaching, right? Like, so we're going to pay coaches like Mike Kelleher. We're going to pay coaches like Mike Willey. We're going to pay.
And not to cut you off, Mike, I'm glad you brought that up because your son's going to be coached by guys like Mike Kelleher and Coach Foley that have done it at the highest level of college football. Like these are guys. I mean, Mike Kelleher is a coaching legend in this area. That's not hyperbole. That's not me saying this because New England Football Journal is affiliated with the league. That's a fact. I've been in football for 30 years. I've watched Coach Kelleher coach in person. I've watched him clinic. I can attest to that. So your son is going to get really good coaching in this league. It's not, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck.
No doubt. And I'm going to piggyback on that, John. Like we have current college coaches that we pay to coach in the league, right? Like we have Bentley coaches that coach in the league, right? Like Nichols coaches, WPI coaches, right? These are all guys that want to get extra reps too. Just like with the officials, we get, they get kind of trial. Like, so let's say you're a college coach, you're a young college coach, John. Okay. Yep. I'm a D-line coach now, but I want to be a defensive coordinator. Well, I'm going to coach in the league and I'm going to learn from Coach Kelleher. He's going to let me call a couple of the plays, call a couple of the games because that's good for my development. Yeah. Like that's what we're talking about. So it's not only helping those guys. So we're trying to keep the cost as low as possible. You know what I mean? But that's, but if we're going to do it the right way, we have to insure every kid, like there's insurance, there's all those things just add up, but we're trying to do it the best we possibly can.
Mick checks back in. He says also as regards to equipment, et cetera, are kids expected to get their pads from their schools?
Yep. So lots of different options here. Most kids do. They get their helmet and shoulder pads from their school and they just use that in the league. If you don't have access to that, we have a vendor that does a good job getting shoulder pads and helmets for guys that don't. But most of the guys will use their school equipment or they'll have their own, right? I know, John, it's crazy. So many kids have their own stuff now. It's like I have my own. My shoulder pads have to look really cool, and like all this stuff. So so they have their own stuff. So yeah, they do that. Most guys do that.
The back plate that has the beware.
Gotta have it.
Yeah.
You're looking at me. Yeah, whatever. So and again, John, with that, like face shields are totally cool in our league. Like we got the face shield, we got the whole thing, whatever you want to wear, like all that stuff. It's kind of cool that way. But yeah, most kids use their stuff. But if you don't have access to your stuff, we have ability to get it to you.
Yeah. No, that's a great question, Mick. Again, thank you for checking in. We appreciate it. And again, I don't think we could state this enough that in this current climate of college football, kids, especially in the Northeast, kids need this now more than ever. And I think for you guys, from a mission statement, vision standpoint, you'd like to add more teams, right?
Yep.
I mean, right now you have 4. You've been playing with 4.
Yep.
But the goal is to get more guys involved in the league so you can add at least 2 more teams.
Yep.
So that even more guys can get the opportunity to get those practice reps, to get those game reps. And again, this is the big thing here, to put out that good game tape.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're looking for that. Like that would be ideal for us. It's like it's fun, more kids, more opportunities, more what we think helping Mass football and Northeast football and New Hampshire football and Maine football, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, all those schools, all those states. We're trying to help as many kids as we can. And plus it just ups the fun, even more competition, more fun. But what we won't do is we won't hurt the quality, right? Like we're still going to have great coaches at every site. It's not going to be, watered down at all. It's like, yeah, if we got enough for 6 great teams, we're going to have 6 great teams. If we have enough for 5 great teams, we'll have 5 great teams. That's what we're gonna stand on for sure.
All right. So before we wrap up here, Mike, I do want to give you the opportunity to get some information out there for the folks that might be watching this or are going to watch it. How can they attend a tryout?
Yep.
How what? Let's get them some information out there
Great.
in regards to how they can get in touch with you guys, tryouts, dates, all that stuff.
Yep. So we have our website, which has all the information to it. And if you have questions, you can go there. It has all the things. It has the cost layout. It has everything, right? Like it has everything laid out. And there's a little button that says, click here to get evaluated for the league, right? So you'll click there and it brings up a form and you just put in your information, right? I'm Mike Willey. I'm an offensive lineman. I'm 6'4", now, too heavy, and you put in all that stuff.
I got you beat there, my friend.
Anyway, so you put in all your information and then you put in, if you have any tape or workout tape, like, oh, here's me bench press. Okay, great. We can kind of look at that. You're ready for this kind of level, whatever, like put in that information as much as you have, and then we can evaluate you. Okay. We're doing that now. We've been getting great feedback on that already. Like, they've been pouring in. So send it in. It's just free. Click on it. Just put it in. Doesn't hurt. Send it in. Okay. Then on a week from Sunday, we'll send out VIP invites. These are all guys that have kind of filled out that form, or we've heard from a college coach. This is a guy we need in the league, or from high school coaches. Hey, these are great guys. You make sure you invite these guys. So we'll send out those invites. Okay. You'll see those start popping up on social media. It's not too late, right? Like, send in your film, like send it into your evaluation as soon as you can, right? You're a player at XYZ school and you want to get involved, send in your stuff. We'll evaluate it and get you a invite. Okay. And then, so that starts, the first tryout is March 8th. It's a Sunday. The second one is a week later on the 15th. And then we have an open tryout for anyone, kind of catch everyone. Hey, man, like get there and try out at the end of March on the 29th on Sunday. So the first step is, go to the website and punch in your stuff, right? Like, just get it in there. It's free. No big deal. Go, and we can get you evaluated.
All right. Finally here, before we wrap it up, Mike, just a final thought here on the league. And again, I really want you to drive home the point of why now more than ever, this league is important for kids in New England if they have aspirations to play college football.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about, like, I think the right word you used it, John, is opportunity, right? Whether you're the rising senior that needs tape to move the needle, right, from this kind of offer status, whatever, to this, or if you're that rising junior that's like, I need as much tape as I can because that's where I'm hitting in the recruiting cycle. Or if you're a rising freshman, rising sophomore, younger guys, and you're like, I want to make the team, I want to get opportunity, I want to become the starting strong safety, I want to be the starting wideout, I need reps. Like, wherever you are on that spectrum, it's about opportunity, right? So maximize your opportunities. And in order to get better, you have to play more tackle football, so get there and, make sure that you get those opportunities, because like you said, John, you have a finger on the pulse better than anyone, right? The college landscape is drastically shifting. It's not moving an inch. It's totally being redefined. And the kids that are taking advantage of all those opportunities are the ones that are going to kind of rise to the top. And the other kids are going to just kind of fall away. And it's a bummer. Like, for a guy that loves Northeast football, like, I don't want to see that happen to anyone. But that's why we do this, right? Like get kids opportunities.
Yep. Mick checks back in, and Mick, again, thank you for taking the time to join us tonight. He says, to the point of the show, recruiting has become very tough. Went through it with my son this year. Thankfully, he got recruited, but seems to be getting tougher each year. And to Mick's point, I wanted to ask you this, Mike, before we wrap up here. Can guys that were seniors this past season, can they play in the league this spring?
Oh man, I'm glad you that's a good one, John, because so I give you a quick story. So I'll give you two quick ones. Okay. One, we had this linebacker. He was a really good player. And he was, a senior, and he was going off to Pomona Pitzer, right? So there's a picture Nescac school on the West Coast with palm trees and a pool outside. Like, it's awesome. One of my former college coaches is now the head coach, Coach Walsh. He's an awesome dude. I go out there every once in a while to see him, and I'm like, this is like Candyland. Anyways, so he's going to Pomona Pitzer. He's like, but I want to play right away. Can I play in the league again? He had played the year before. We're like, absolutely, you can play. Right. So he played as a senior, right? He's going into his freshman year. He played as a senior in the league, got better, got reps, all that sort. Showed up at Pomona Pitzer. He's a starting middle linebacker. Wow. Like that's not happening without that. And Pomona Pitzer can't have him graduate early and get on campus early, like Michigan can. Right. Zach Zinter is a good example. He went to Michigan, he got to start as a freshman, but he was ready to go because he was there, in the winter, right? Going through spring ball. If you don't have an opportunity to play spring ball for your college, this is a way to do it. Get great opportunity, right? Get coached by Bentley coaches, right? Great. Like, I'm going to get coached by Bentley coaches. I'll be ready for my season at Tufts, I'm ready to go. So absolutely, those seniors. Some of my favorite guys are those. Mike D. Placido is the captain of the Bentley team this year. He did it as a senior. He's like, I want to play more football. I love football. Like, why wouldn't I want to play? I'm like, yeah, it sounds good. Get in,
And Pomona Pitzer has joined the show. Go Sage Hens. Here we go. Pomona Pitzer football jumping on board.
Nice.
Thank you for the shout out. Nice. Yes. Yeah, there you go, Coach Willey.
Wow.
You have nationwide reach, my friend.
Listen, we're coast to coast on this show, John. I mean, like we're going from Atlantic to Pacific. That's pretty good.
The league is coast to coast. Here we go. Let's go.
That would be good.
Let's start getting some of those Cali kids out here for the spring. It's beautiful in Massachusetts in April and May. Come on out here and play some football.
Exactly.
I can't stress this enough. I think, when we reconnected and talked about working together again, I think the landscape has changed so much than when we first started working together, 3 years ago. So I think it's a different time now. And I think now more than ever, and I encourage public school coaches, encourage your guys to play in the league, Catholic school coaches, private school coaches. I think we need this now more than ever. We need to help these young men get recruited. They're up against it with the portal, and we're not saying this as a scare tactic or a promotional tactic or anything else. This is the reality of the situation, okay? The more tape they have, the more it's going to help them. And look, one other thing about the portal, and I don't think it gets talked about enough, Mike, look at how many FCS guys now are getting an opportunity to play FBS college football. Yep. These were guys that those FBS schools missed on coming out of high school.
Yep.
So the more tape you have, it's going to help you where even if you end up in a D3, D2 school, an FCS school, the more tape you have, the more they can find on you. If you decide to enter the portal a year or two later, once you're in college, if your league tape is out there, that can help you end up getting an FBS offer. So, I mean, again, I think it's really important. And if you coaches out there, if you have any questions, Mike is super accessible. I mean, if you want to reach out to me, I could connect you with Mike. I mean, again, and if you're sitting there and you're saying, I'm not sure I want, my returning starters or my upperclassmen, then encourage your younger guys to play. Yep. It is an invaluable tool for their development. If you have freshmen, sophomores that you think could be in the mix to start for you potentially as either sophomores or juniors, have them play in the league. Get those extra 4 games. Get those extra practice reps and game reps. And again, they're going to be coached by college coaches. That's huge. Like Mike said to start the show, this isn't a dad's of the team situation where they're showing up and they're just coaching their kid. These guys are college coaches. They're
The pros.
full-time college coaches. They're legitimate. This is what they do. They're going to help your sons get better. And I think ultimately that's what we all want.
Absolutely. Absolutely, John. Yeah, no, well said on that. And yeah, it's about just getting those kids opportunities, and we're excited about it.
And Mick says, and I didn't want to do this to you. I knew you were Ronan's dad. And Ronan, one of the best receivers in the state the last 3 years, played for my good friend Steve Dombowski at Milton High School, who I consider one of the best offensive coaches in the game. Ronan is a terrific player. I think it would be fantastic for Ronan if he played. He's going to ball out. He's a dude. He's going to be around other dudes. I think it would be fantastic. So
well, let's get Ronan in, okay? John, all you got to do is send me his email. He's getting a VIP invite a week from Sunday, guaranteed. How about that?
Right. Perfect. Well, let me tell you something. He is a VIP. He's a dude. So I think, yeah, that's great. So we'll definitely get you connected with Ronan.
And John, like you said, with the coaches, anyone just DM me on the Elite Twitter page or X account. I should say that account. We're checking that. We have a guy that runs that. He checks it all the time, sends them to me. So make sure you just DM me there. Call me, email me, anything. Right? Like it's all out there. So yeah, coaches, if you want to get involved, high school coaches, let me know. Players, obviously, let me know. All of those things. Just reach out. We're
what I'll do, Mike, too, is we'll tweet out and we'll put on our social media an email where they can get in touch with you guys. Anybody,
Perfect.
Parents, players that are interested in playing, coaches if they're interested in coaching and helping out. We'll put out an email on our social media, so then that way they can they can come to us and it'll be there. So
perfect. Yeah, that's perfect, John. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we'll get it all to you and just get it out there. And yeah, it's great.
All right, great stuff, Mike. It's great talking ball with you, my friend. It's always great to see you. Yeah. Always one of my favorite conversations, brother. I mean that sincerely. It's always great talking ball with you. We could sit here and do this for another 2 hours.
I know, John. But we got to go to sleep. I'm an old guy. I got to be in the weight room at 6:30 tomorrow morning. I got to make sure I beat those guys to the weight room. Otherwise, they'll be. And
you got those college coaches coming in too. So
yeah,
you're busy too. So
yeah, we got a busy day tomorrow. So we'll get it. We'll get them through. Right.
Hey, I'm older than you, so I mean it is what it is. But class of '93, right here, baby.
All right, you got me beat by 5, so I was 98. So
see,
I'm closing in. Yeah, that's good.
Well, it's great to see you, brother, and we're excited to have the opportunity to work with you again. And let's get this thing cranking.
Absolutely, John. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. That is Mike Willey, head football coach at BBNN, and he also runs the league. And again, I can't say it enough. You're going to get great coaching and a great opportunity. So like I said, let's get this thing cranking. All right, that'll do it for this week's episode of the Coaches Chat. For Mike Willey, I'm John Serenitas. Till next week, peace.